everybody. I have a motion moved by Don B. Marshall and seconded by David Mollison. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby returns to open session of Council at 7 o'clock p.m. 7:00 p.m. Any questions or comments on the motion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Now, Mark, you'll note in the minutes that only those matters that we went into closed session are the only matters discussed. We do have one item coming out of closed session, matters arising. And I have a motion moved by John Eccles and seconded by Don B. Marshall. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves the wage rate for casual part-time bartenders to be set at $12 per hour. Is there any questions or comments on this motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. And just for any other comments out there, that was a small discrepancy between some of our facilities, and that makes them all carry, if I'm not mistaken now, leveled out. Very good. Okay. Moving down then to the consent agenda. I have a motion moved by Mark Rapke and seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that items A1 to C1 inclusive contained in Part 1 consent agenda be adopted, and further that authorization be given for the actions to be taken as may be necessary to give effect to the recommendations contained therein. Is there any questions or comments on this motion? Anything for discussion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Mark, you'll hand out the one motion there to give those, have those give effect. And that brings us down to communications from Mayor and Council. Is there any Council members that have any communications at this time? Any activities that you've attended or will be attending? Nobody? Nobody wants to talk about the Crawford Garden Party and how excellent of a feast that was, Mr. Eccles? You were in the middle of it now. No, you were there. Carol was there. Yeah. No? Crawford Garden Party was last Friday night at the Elmwood Community Centre, as it's been for a number of years. Well attended. Absolutely fabulous meal. Did see a number of councillors there. And don't know whether you want any other comments on it, or Carol, Councillor
I just can tell you there was 305 paid admission, so it was really well attended.
Yeah, and I was successful on one of the silent auction items again.
Successful on 3.
I'm glad that your bank account has more in it than mine did then. I was 100%. I only bid on one and I got one, so that was good. I was able to represent the municipality at the Holstein Rodeo, the opening ceremonies on Saturday at 1:30, I believe it is. We were paraded around for the Dodge sponsored Holstein Rodeo, so a number of mayors, the MP and the MPP got to ride in a beautiful back of a beautiful Dodge pickup truck around the stadium and opened it up. The Holstein Rodeo, I understand, was very successful again. Somewhere around 25,000 people through the gates over the weekend. And did they have a dunk tank? I did not see a dunk tank, but I didn't get that far back into the campground. a couple of years there has been private dunk tanks in the campground. So
I like the public ones where you pay $1 and throw a ball in the air.
oh,
That was good.
well, just the way it is. I believe that the Abbey Field rubber ducky race coming up on August the 9th. There are tickets still available out there, but they were entertaining on a dunk tank and looking for participants from council. Apparently they have enough male
Right now.
they have enough male volunteers, so they're looking for a couple of female volunteers.
I'll suggest Carol.
Go right ahead. And then, of course, on that one, August 9th in the morning as well is the Colleen Lawrence Memorial Run in Newstead. I believe, Ken, they've been in connection with road closures, and it'll be a great thing again, August the 8th, and the Friday nights, this is spaghetti dinner to get all carved up for that. And if I'm not mistaken, that is the same weekend as the wood show at Wellback is on the Friday night and Saturday as well too. So a lot of activities in the municipality that weekend, as well as a few coming up, I believe on August the 1st, maybe starting January, starting on July 31st, there is a bit of a celebration, 110 years. They're a bit of a young municipality in comparison to what we are here in West Grey from Art, but I see the Mayor of Hanover is with us this evening, and Hanover's homecoming is being celebrated on the August long weekend, so congratulations and best wishes on that, Kathi. And I know that Joanne and I have tickets to attend a couple of functions, and we'll be there for the grand opening as well too. I've accepted that. So, and the Elmwood homecoming is still going along very well, and it is on the September long weekend, so we look forward to that one as well too. Any other questions or comments? No? Very good. If it would behoove council, I would like to move up. As I have mentioned, we do have the Mayor of Hanover here with us this evening, Kathi. Welcome, Your Honor, to be with us. And we have a report on our agenda from through our CEO and Deputy Clerk. And I just wondered if we could move that up. Larry, do you have any problem? Would council have any problem if we did that? Because I know that last week I was at the Hanover Council Chambers, and the mayor there was very gracious and moved it up on that one. So Larry, I'm going to turn it over to you. Your report is there on the Hanover West Grey or West Grey Hanover service agreement.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Yes, you'll see in the agenda this evening I have a report with a recommendation that the West Grey Council approve the West Grey Hanover Development Agreement principles as mutually proposed by the West Grey Hanover Development Committee, as attached and forming part of this report. The background there indicates that we've been meeting under the charter and put together this proposed principles on how to further develop the property just to the east of Hanover and the west area of West Grey. The report itself is fairly self-explanatory, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that council may have in regards to the development agreement itself, but I would be remiss if I didn't point out that this exact agreement went to Hanover Council last week and was unanimously endorsed as well. So I'm prepared for questions if you wish, Your Worship.
Any questions? Councillor Lawrence. Carol?
Thank you. I just want to ask about the 2nd Street extension, number D there. Is that the land, the extension that would run through the Magwood land? And are we saying here that that would be optimum if it was possible? Is that really what it's saying here?
Yes. That,
Okay.
I think you can say that. Yes, that is the extension would come out onto County Road 28.
Yeah.
And getting that through when we start, there'd be no infrastructure put into place until we've got an agreement for that road.
That's what it's saying? I didn't read that out of it. Are the Magwoods aware that that's in there?
They should be. It was a public document and publicly discussed, and it has gone past their planning and legal.
Your legal people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I do have a motion moved by John A. Bell and seconded by John Eccles. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves the West Grey Hanover Development Agreement principles as mutually proposed by the West Grey Hanover Development Committee as contained in report CEO Deputy Clerk number 7/21/2014. This time I'd just like to say that been a considerable amount of work and effort put into coming to this agreement and the suggestions that are in it, both by staff and Mayor Maskell and myself. I know Ken Gould, our Director of Infrastructure, and the Director of Infrastructure and Public Works for Hanover, Ron Cooper, have worked back and forth, our planner, to come up with the framework around the servicing agreement that you see in front of you this evening. I guess two of the things that basically come down to it is that Hanover would be supplying water and sewer and have the revenue off of that. The land, any of the development would be in West Grey, and we'd be receiving the revenue for that. And specifically for the rest of it, the expenses are pretty much on a 50-50 split for this development land that's there. And at this time, I'd just like to say thank you to Kathi and the Hanover staff and political, and that Hanover did pass this last Monday night. We would hoped it would have been similar to the charter where we had it, but council meetings are offsetting here and couldn't find one that come together. So last Monday, Hanover passed it at their council meeting, and it's here before us tonight. And Councillor Lawrence, question on the motion.
Sorry to harp on this, but again, I'm reading number E now, and is this document saying that unless 2nd Street is developed, that there won't be any infrastructure? Like you're saying here, the time frame for the 2nd Street development shall be mutually considered and decided prior to infrastructure development commencing.
That's correct.
So if there is no agreement with the Magwoods, everything's at a standstill?
Yes.
And by, like I guess I don't agree with forcing them to give up their land. I voted for it before. So what, I mean, but this whole thing then is based on putting that street through there.
Pretty much so. If the Magwoods, if we can't come to any, what it comes right down to, if the Magwoods, you know, fight or dramatically oppose it or anything of that nature, and it can't be put through, then it's pretty much a dead issue, yes. For the engineering purposes of trying to get servicing and whatnot there, there's got to be a way for it to come out and get back into Hanover. We've looked at...
They can't go up the drive-in road?
Well, they can go up the drive-in road, but as you know, how do you loop them? Mm-hmm. You know, that's part of the problem that ended up in Walkerton was dead ends and whatnot in the water. Yeah. So to get it looped, and we've looked at many options on this, and this is the only one that makes sense.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I won't be supporting it, Mr. Mayor. Sorry.
Okay, it's your option. Always. Any other questions? Seeing none, then I will ask, call the question then. All those in favor? Sorry, one more question before. Yep. Okay, I'll ask for the vote and ask Mark to take the vote.
Deputy Mayor Bell,
Yes.
Councillor Cutting,
No.
Councillor Eccles,
Yes.
Mayor Eccles,
Yes.
Councillor Lawrence,
No.
Councillor Marshall,
No.
Councillor Mollison,
Yes.
Councillor Rapke,
Yes.
Councillor Thompson.
No.
Passed 5-4.
Declare the motion carried. 5-4. Okay. And I would be remiss if I didn't, Mayor Maskell is with us. Kathi, do you? Sorry. I would be remiss. I've got a microphone here and I should turn it on. I was offered the opportunity to say something, and I'm going to afford that to Mayor Maskell, seeing as she came over this evening. And the podium's there, and there's a button on there.
Right-hand side.
The right-hand side button.
Okay, this is a little more high-tech.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay.
So,
I feel actually quite comfortable in this room because for the last 2 years, this committee has been meeting, not in this room, but in the adjoining room, and to work on the West Grey Hanover Collaborative Development and Services Review. I want to thank Mayor Eccles and CAO and Ken also for bringing a really positive attitude to the table. Over those 2 years, there have been countless hours spent on this issue. I'm not a huge lover of geography, so you can imagine many meetings were spent with maps in front of us in order to achieve the best growth area. We did everything that we could to find an area that was agreeable to our two councils, but also to the county and also for the province. There was a lot of discussion also on how to move forward, and I'm sure Mayor Eccles would agree that there were a few meetings that we came out of where we felt that we had just sort of been spinning our wheels, and then other meetings where we felt that we did get some traction. I think all the tools required to permit development are in place now, and of course that development will require hard services. And I believe that the people that we serve in both of our municipalities are pleased to see us working together to bring development and the accompanying jobs to not just West Grey and not just Hanover, but to this whole region. And it just makes sense to the people that we serve that West Grey, if West Grey has the land, Hanover can provide the services, why wouldn't we work together to bring development? So individually, we know for sure that we can't continue to achieve the necessary services that are needed. As individual municipalities, things are becoming way too expensive for us to do that. So I personally think it's really exciting to be working together to bring growth to our part of Grey County. And I think that we're on the right path. And in the spirit of the Charter, I think that we need to keep working on our ongoing relationship for the benefit of West Grey and for the benefit of Hanover residents as well, and for all of those people in the surrounding areas. So thank you, Mayor Eccles, for the opportunity to share that. I think we are on the right track. I think the work that we're doing is important and can have a huge impact on this part of Grey County.
thank you very much, Mayor Maskell. Good words. I was remiss in not mentioning one thing, Carol, on 2nd Street when we looked at that. Probably one of the biggest reasons for that will be access. Blue Water School Board is planning on the hospital, but there's a number of other issues. Planning on the hospital, planning on a school, but certainly the other issue is going west. Was on my mind to say in the hospital, EMS having to get over into that area other than coming back out of the hospital, either going down and all the way up Eccles. There's a side road there, and or coming across on 10th Street through Hanover. There's no access into really the south end of Bentic and into Normanby for quick. That was one of the other options that we were looking at when we were looking at 2nd Street. Was not just for the infrastructure, but a lot of those traffic and movement of school and hospital and emergency vehicles as well too, that would be required. So, Carol.
I think what bothers me about this whole thing, though, we did assure the Magwoods when they were here that they would not be forced off their land. And that doesn't read like that to me. Although you're talking a street, it's still their land and it crosses right through the middle of their production area.
And as I said, it's not something that's forced. We'll try to negotiate it. And as I said before, if it's not, then I don't think that we have any options there. But hopefully, for the reasons of for the community at large, we'll find support there. Okay. All right. Now we do have a couple of delegations. Thank Council for allowing us to deviate, but we have, as I said, 2 delegations this evening, and Winston, Mr. Kirkpatrick, if I could ask, and I see the microphone is still on there for you, you don't even need to turn it on. So, Mr. Kirkpatrick, welcome, and the floor is yours, Winston.
Thank you, Mayor, Councillors. I'm here tonight to request change in the noise bylaw within the township of West Grey, because I'm currently building a house that is off grid. And when I talked to Mark about getting on here, and he said, well, you could go on the grid, and where the side road I am on, that is not an option. There's one between the 14th and 16th of Normanby. There's no hydro down there whatsoever. Never has been, and I doubt if there ever will be. There are 3 of us have a house that now are off grid. A 4th one is contemplating planning, and he's going off grid more on principle because he'd be fairly close. Because I was told it would cost $32,000 to bring the hydro down about a quarter mile down the road. The homeowner's got to pay that. 5 years, he loses the hydro and everything, and then he just pays hydro bill, and hydro got it back. So we're all off grid, and I'm requesting some kind of variation to the bylaw for, in my situation where I am, I'm off grid. MBACT has me listed as running solar or generator for power, which is all I have. If I don't have enough solar power, I need to start the generator. And one neighbor there, he doesn't like the noise. I can't do much about it. I have slacked off as far as starting the generator in the morning for hydro, but I have a base camp there as a trailer. I found out I cannot stay in the house overnight, so I have a trailer set up as a base camp. And if it's too cold overnight or early in the morning, I want to start that generator and have some heat in there. And I started it Saturday morning. West Grey Police come out. They received the complaint. I got a ticket for violating the noise bylaw. And I have no choice. It's either heat or freeze. Or not freeze, but this time of year, but it's cold. It was not overly warm in the trailer Saturday morning. And I think it's fair or reasonable to expect in a base camp you should have hydro and some heat. And as far as the bylaw, what is normal economic activity? That depends on the situation. If I had hydro there, generator would be outlawed, I would agree. But with no hydro, I have no choice but to go generator or solar. I try not to start at 2 ridiculous hours of the overnight. My one neighbor beside me out there, he'll run his generator to 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I know he's got it running. I can hear it. I'll accept that because he's off grid. He's got no power. I know that. The neighbor the other side of me, well, he's get considerable complaining, and now it's come down to this. I'm going to have to go to court and fight this as a bylaw, as unnecessary noise. I think the bylaw rates noise that disturbs the inhabitants of West Grey County, or West Grey. To me, it's a necessity. It's not, if I run at 3 o'clock in the morning, if I didn't need the heat, that's one thing. If I don't get my occupancy permit soon enough in the fall, that generator is going to have to run in the wee hours of the morning so I have heat. And I do not think it's, I would say it's normal. It's a base camp. I've got to have hydro. There's no propane furnace in that trailer. Basically a place to sleep. I'm just hoping council would make some kind of a deviation to the bylaw to allow for off-grid, that if they're on solar and generator as I am and my one neighbor is, we're allowed to run a generator. I'll take any questions from council if I can answer them.
Okay, thank you very much, Winston. I've got a couple of individuals here. Councillor Thompson. Rob?
Yes, thank you. What size generator are you running now, Winston?
It's a 5,500 watt, 10 horsepower home light generator. Okay. It's a gas generator.
And this generator now, is this, you're building this house yourself or contracted?
Most of it I'm doing myself. I've had some contracting, but most I'm trying to do myself.
Okay, so you're trying to, you have to use this generator to build your home?
Not for power, no.
Okay.
I have enough solar panels up. Like a day like today, I've got more power coming in than I can hope to use.
Okay. So basically you want a generator to operate your heat in that trailer you're
like
staying in at
in the
time?
base camp.
Yeah.
Like the base camp, I can't be running an extension cord to the house out because overnight I don't have enough battery power to hold power that I can run a heater in that trailer. Like I started at 5:30. It was on for 1 hour. I shut it off. By the time the police came over there, it was 6:38 when she was there, and that's the time on the ticket.
Okay. Can I make one suggestion? There is generators that run whisper quiet that you can buy, and probably just to run that you just probably need a 2000 whisper quiet. You hardly hear them. I suggest if neighbors are upset with it, maybe look at purchasing
I know if I had a
generator.
smaller, the first time the police officer came out, he said, "Why don't you buy a smaller generator?" He said, "You got lots of money, buy a smaller generator, it'll be quiet."
Well, I'm not saying you have lots of money.
That's beside the point,
but that's one avenue you could look at probably is the smaller, or the 2000 whisper quiet generators, and you never hear it. It wouldn't be an issue. I don't think we can do anything with the bylaw at this point. I mean, it's in place, and if people complain.
I know the bylaw has to protect.
Anybody complain on the other neighbor on the other side when they can, obviously they can hear that other generator running?
Yeah, the one neighbor, he knows I'm off grid, he knows I need power, he accepts it, same as I accept his when his is running. But the neighbor the one way will
Okay.
not.
The neighbor to the one way, do they not hear the other generator running also?
My house is directly between the generator over there and the neighbor
Okay.
that's complaining, so it'll cut the noise considerably.
Okay.
Now today I have a shed there. I moved the shed today, so it'll be directly between the generator and the gentleman that's complaining about the noise. Now whether that'll cut it down enough, I don't know. But he's 120 feet plus away from my generator, from the generator at his house, and he's complaining about the noise in the house. He says it rattles the pictures on the wall.
No.
I haven't been in. I can't
Yeah.
argue it, but I'm just taking what he says.
All right.
Okay. John, Deputy Mayor Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Kirkpatrick, thanks for your presentation. Yeah, I'm thinking it's not...
I can barely hear you, John. My hearing is not the best.
It's not a very good situation. I'm a little curious, and I know you've probably tried this. You've moved the generator to try to deflect the sound or any of that kind of stuff. Any of that work? Can you put it beside a cement wall on the foundation to deflect it into the bush, or not being familiar with your surroundings? I'm just asking those questions.
Okay, I am on fairly high ground. The generator is at the end of the house towards the road. I have a sheet of, my trailer is right beside it. I have a sheet of plywood between the generator and the trailer, trying to deflect some of the sound away from my trailer and from carrying farther up the road, but I can't stop all the sound.
Approximately how close is your neighbor to you? Can you tell us that?
From the generator to his house is 120, 125 feet, give or take.
Okay.
And there's a double row of trees that have been planted. I planted some on my side, he's put some on his side. So double row of trees there. They're not doing a lot of good, but they'll do some. But how much noise gets into the house, I don't know. But I'm in the trailer and I can hear it, I won't argue it. But it's not excessively loud, what I would say. my hearing is not the best either, that might help me too.
Okay, okay, fair enough. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mark, Councillor Rapke.
Yeah, I just had one question. So you're looking for an exemption to the bylaw. Is this a temporary that you're requesting or a permanent?
No, I'd like a permanent adjustment for anybody that's building off-grid that is listed as solar, wind power, or generator, so that they can legally run the generator. If they need power, they can legally run that generator to get power.
Okay, I understand. Thanks.
Because it is a unique situation. There's not too many places around that are 100% off-grid, and Mark asked me, and I don't even have a choice. Don't have a deep enough pocket to get hydro down.
John?
Well, just one more question. Like, there's a lot of houses are built using generated power in a lot of different places. Like contractors use them all the time.
Yeah.
In bushes, in areas with no power, wherever. I'm just wondering how this came to this. There's something I'm not getting here.
Okay, my generators mainly, at this point, is from a base camp. If it's too cold in that trailer overnight, I need heat.
I hear you, yeah.
If it gets a real cloudy day or enough rain, I might have to start the generator for power when I'm working. But that's daytime, I think that's acceptable.
And I agree with you, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just, okay, in the trailer at night, like last Saturday morning, it was not overly warm. I had to put the heater on in there, wasn't only an hour, fine, then I shut it off. But normally I don't use the generator for power within the house because I have, like I say, my solar power is 5 kilowatt per hour coming in. So I can't use that much power. But it's just the batteries do not take the load overnight. They'll be, next thing you know, the low voltage, and then your power is down and it's a total shutdown.
Right. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bev?
May I suggest that you put the generator in a building?
No, it's not. It's outside.
May I suggest that you put the generator into, like, build a building around it to kind of cut the noise? I mean,
Well,
to change the bylaw for, you know, a request or two is probably not really, in my opinion, not really a wise thing to do.
Like, I'm asking for myself, but asking for anybody else who would be in this situation in the future. Which,
Well, I would suggest to anyone else in the future that they build a building and put the generator inside so that the generator wasn't bothering the neighbors. It seems to me to be a
for me, that's another added expense, which I class as total unnecessary added expense.
Well, sometimes you have to pay to keep them in trouble.
But at this point, I've got basically run the generator so I can have heat in that trailer in the morning as it gets on later in the fall. If it gets cold enough, I'm going to start that generator 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. If it's cold enough, I'll have heat in there. Now what's going to become of that, I don't know. I figure it'll be a ticklish situation, to say the least. But I would say it's normal to have heat in your base camp when you're building the house. Heat and hydro, because it's just a trailer, there's no power otherwise to it. I use a generator for heat and power in that trailer as my base.
How long till your house is finished?
I couldn't honestly tell you. I cannot give you a date.
So are we talking a year or 3 months or?
I hope to get occupancy permit this fall so I can legally stay in it for the winter. I found out that I can't stay there overnight because I don't have occupancy permit.
So if you don't get the occupancy permit, are you planning to stay in the trailer all winter?
No.
Then
If I have to, I'll find some other place. I think that trailer will be a little too cold to stay for the winter, even for me. 40 years ago I might have taken it, but not now.
Can't change the bylaw, I don't think.
Well, I doubt if we can, I doubt Winston, well, no, I don't doubt it. I know we couldn't change the bylaw tonight.
No. It's just, consider it, I'm just asking council for their consideration on it, and like, the sooner it can be done, it will help me, but it'll help anybody in this situation in the future. Because MPAC were around and they have me down as solar and generator, that's my power source. So, if I haven't got one, I've got to run the other, and it's against the bylaw, so what can you do?
Well, I know that the tax bills are going out next week, so everybody will be telling us that impact is absolutely correct when it comes next week. I'm not saying
Oh, yeah, they'll be
they're
right on.
always right, impact. Could I make the suggestion to council that we do have committee of the whole next week? Give staff time to look at maybe what options we have, and we can come up with a presentation of what some of our options are, and be able to give council some time to absorb what you've brought forth. And as you said, I think the biggest thing is more and more houses are coming off the grid. So what does that mean? Or maybe we have to look at the building code as to what alternative source energies.
Just give my opinion now, what I would like, but I don't expect to happen overnight. It's not gonna, but it's for myself and anybody else in this situation in the future.
Yeah. So probably, and as I said, the more that it's coming off, the more that the backup spot will be, and what that is for having it, as Councillor Cutting has suggested, indoors, or mufflering systems onto those. I'm not 100% sure either. So
I mean, it's kind of an unusual situation, but something to look at and figure out where do you go from there.
Very good. So Larry and Mark, got that? We'll take a look at it, see if we can get something together, and what options are available to us to help out on the issue that you brought forward, Winston. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Very good. Okay. Thank you. Our second delegation this evening, Sid and Karen Parkin, we're here to speak about an event that a property owner located directly beside them is probably going to suggesting on having in a week or two. So Sid and Karen, you're here.
We're not getting this to you soon, Mark. Candidates there's 10 for the councillors and
one for staff.
one for Phil.
Okay. And I think you've presented before, so I'll ask you, you know that the microphone, Winston turned it off, so you're going to have to turn her back on there. Right-hand button.
Bottom right.
There you go.
Perfect.
That red light means you're at a go. I know it's a little different, but... Okay, welcome, and the floor is yours, Sid. Karen?
Well, thank you. And thank you for Mr. Mayor and members of the council for allowing us to make this presentation, and even more thank you to our friends and neighbors that have taken their time to be here on such short notice to support us by being here. The purpose of us being here, I was just jotting down some notes here. Sorry if that sounds like I'm a little bit unorganized. We tend to take things for granted, especially our health. And when we see somebody that can't see, or trying to help someone with mobility issues, we can appreciate our own condition that much more sincerely. And this is especially true when it involves a family member or somebody that, a friend or a neighbor, and especially hits home for me when I see Karen with a health condition, when she is assaulted with a strong dose of smoke. Campfire smoke, cigarette smoke, it doesn't matter. In fact, I believe, Mr. Mayor, you've spoken with Karen during one of her episodes, and her voice was, she had difficulty speaking. I don't know if you remember that, but...
Yes, it was on the phone. I wasn't face-to-face, but yeah, we have spoken when she's been afflicted by it.
Yes, and this condition, it's been diagnosed as dysphonia, could last for, well, has lasted for several weeks, and in some cases even months. which is the purpose of this delegation, and that is to respectfully request that the council direct the West Grey Fire Chief to enforce the West Grey Burn Bylaw 40-2008 for this ABATE event weekend, August 2, 3, 4, and 5, to regulate the open-air fires and direct the fire chief to place a ban on burning tires at this event. The bylaw, if you turn to, first of all, on the very front page is 2 websites that are advertising this ABATE Final Frontier event. One is letsride.com, which, among other things, highlights the event. I took the privilege of highlighting things just to make it easier so you wouldn't have to look for them on the page. The event includes bike games and a burnout pit. Another website, hogtowncycles.ca, camping, bike games, wrestling, mud wrestling, tattoo, blah, blah, burnout competition. The purpose for providing this documentation is that ipso facto, they are planning on doing it this weekend, although I don't have a poster. Usually I have a poster. This is all I could find this year. So yes, it is going through this year, and this is the evidence that, that they're advertising on these websites proving it. The burn bylaw, which is on page 2, it's only one page of the 4-page document, which is on page 2 of the handout, highlighting 2.3, the fire shall not in any way cause discomfort, danger, irritation, and or nuisance for other persons. 2.7, no person shall set a fire in the municipality of West Grey without having obtained an open-air burning permit attached as Schedule B to this bylaw, unless such burning consists of a small confined campfire supervised at all times and shall not exceed 61 centimeters, 24 inches in diameter. The emphasis is on A, which I don't think we can dispute means anything more than singular uno, one. A means one. 2.10, no person shall burn household waste, garbage, refuse, leaves, or treated wood products, shingles, plastic, tires, petroleum products, or any other toxic substance that creates excessive smoke or odor. And under general provisions, section 3, the fire chief or his or her designate should weather conditions or circumstances require such action, may issue a fire ban, cancel all permits, and no person shall set a fire or allow a fire to burn. So the emphasis there is or circumstances. In the past years, during this ABATE event, there has been dozens of campfires burning constantly, many of which were smoldering and very smoky. The drifting and constant smoke invades our home, and even though we turn off our HRV, we're immediately east of their property. And during this event, there's a large number of campfires right along the property line, and the smoke drifts over to our property by way of the prevailing winds, and it gets into our house even though the HRV is turned off, the windows are all closed, and some years is worse than others, but it pretty well gets into the house even though everything is all shut down. Exposure to this smoke causes Karen to be choked up with an asthmatic condition called dysphonia that includes troubled breathing, pains in her chest, and a loss of voice. And this condition has lasted for, in previous years that this has gone on, has lasted for several weeks and even months. Every year we have presented a letter complaining of such, and here we are again. On the next page is a letter from Dr. North, an ear, nose, and throat doctor, specialist, which on December 30th, December of 2010, after an examination, his letter to our family doctor specifies her asthma in the past has been triggered by smoke. On review today, Karen, and there's more than just what I'm highlighting here. On review today, Karen proved to be speaking in a whisper voice, but sometimes her normal voice would break through, and we're dealing with a dysphonia, and I did review this with her. And this is December 2010 from the August long weekend event. So this is several months after the actual event. She's still suffering from the exposure to smoke. Karen has resorted to wearing a respirator when the smoke gets really bad inside our home, carbon filters, and it seems to work well. Difficult to sleep with, but it does work. Last year, when we phoned about the smoke, requesting for the fire department, the police were dispatched, and the responding officers informed us that there wasn't anything they can do because police doesn't work with smoke, fire department works with smoke. On the next page of the handout is an actual letter, which one of our complaints, this was the most recent one of September in 2013, a letter to Mark Turner. Further to our recent conversation regarding the August 2, 3, 4, and 5 ABATE long weekend and campfire smoke, at various times throughout the summer and about a week before the ABATE fundraising event, there has been campfire smoke entering our home and filling our outdoor space from camping ABATE members. Often this was at night, and to be tolerant, we just closed our windows and turned off our HRV to prevent smoke from being drawn into our home through the ventilation system. On Friday, August 2nd, the campfire smoke outside was thick, and although the doors and windows were closed, campfire smoke was still infiltrating our home, and the noise from the event was loud. Karen has a sensitivity to smoke. I went on to explain again about this asthma-like symptoms, pains in her chest, burning in her lungs, and she lost her voice, which is the dysphonia. We phoned dispatch at about 11:30 p.m. with a smoke and noise complaint, and about 12:30 a.m. 2 police officers responded, and as there was an intermission, there was no amplified music, only spoken words on the PA. The officers stated that there wasn't enough noise at this time for them to do anything, and they don't do anything about smoke. So we just stayed bottled up in the house, and we figured we'd deal with it the next day, which on Saturday, August 3rd, the thick smoke outdoors continued limiting our outdoor activity, which is working. If I can put a plug in here, we have organic market gardens, which we have vegetables, which we produce looking for all year round, but at present it's just in the summer, and we found it very difficult working outside in these conditions of having all this excess smoke. We left our property to visit some neighbors, figuring that by escaping the smoke, getting some fresh air, it would be better for Karen's condition. And while visiting one of our neighbors, actually one of our neighbors is here today, while visiting our neighbors at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we heard the sound of the ABATE's burnout activity, which involves a motorcycle spinning its tire on a cement slab until it blows up. It causes, it's not written here, but I did capture some pictures off of the internet on the very last picture. Those are 2 burnout events. I didn't take those pictures. They were taken by participants of the event, and then they posted those pictures on the internet for public access. And you can see from the photos, it makes an apartment-sized cloud of smoke, which is very dramatic and entertaining in a sort of way. And this smoke from the burnt tires then dissipates depending on the weather conditions. Weather conditions meaning usually they drift over to our place. As a result of hearing this sound, we knew about the smoke, so we wanted to make sure that our windows and doors were closed. I was pretty sure they were closed, but anyway. We came back home, and about 4:45, Karen had not regained her HRV turned off, smoke had entered her house, asthma-like symptoms, difficulty breathing, burning in the lungs. About 4:45, we called dispatch with a smoke complaint, and about 5 o'clock, a friend arrived for a visit, and she said that she could taste the smoke in our home. Sergeant Kocher responded by phone at about 5:30 p.m. During our conversation with Sergeant Kocher, there was another burnout, and he stated that he would investigate. And afterwards, during a follow-up visit, Dr. Kocher said that he contacted the fire chief, Phil, and he said that he'd take care of it on Tuesday. This is on Saturday. So on Monday, August 5th, the campfire smoke continued as previously described. Karen continued experiencing asthma-like symptoms, pains in her chest, burning in her lungs, difficulty breathing, loss of voice. Karen resorted to wearing a filter respirator. That's where she found that wearing this carbon filter helped. It's for pesticides, actually, but it worked quite well for smoke. We phoned dispatch about 1 o'clock regarding the smoke, and the dispatch stated that they would send an officer to smell our house. I trust that wasn't sarcasm, but PC Morrison responded, and on Tuesday, August 6th, we phoned the fire chief Phil Schwartz to find out what was going on. He said he didn't know anything and he would do some digging. And again, we go on this a formal complaint, and that as ratepayers, we complain that services were withheld, and that by not responding to the the smoke complaint, duty of care was being withholded as well. The responding letter on the next page from the Municipality of West Grey, from Mark Turner, Mr. and Mrs. Parkin, Mayor Eccles, West Grey Fire Chief Phil Schwartz, and I discussed your letter dated August 26 concerning the ABATE long weekend. The municipality notes that a charge was levied against ABATE, a charge, 4 days, a charge, due to an infraction of the West Grey burning bylaw. Chief Schwartz indicated he will discuss protocols relating to the burn bylaw with Renee Berger, West Grey Police Chief, to address any further issues. As you are likely aware, it is the County of Grey approves the official plan amendment, ABATE, and if the Municipality of West Grey approves the zoning bylaw amendment for ABATE, a condition for the proposed zoning bylaw amendment will be for ABATE to enter into a site plan agreement with the municipality. The municipality will discuss with ABATE and their consultant possible ways to mitigate impact on the neighbors. The burn bylaw is clearly stated in 2.3 that the fire shall not in any way cause discomfort, danger, irritation, and/or nuisance for other persons. And the dozens of smoky fires along our property line would definitely fit this description, I think, although it has been pointed out by a authority that the amount of discomfort, danger, and irritation could be interpreted by the responding official, and it doesn't necessarily mean our discomfort, danger, or irritation. The responding official would have to make that value judgment, which I think is kind of bizarre, but in any case, we're at this point with our other times that we've been in front of this council, thank you very much for them as well, we're not mentioning the unattended fires or their close proximity to propane tanks, cans of gasoline, vehicles, no emergency plan. I'm not even going to mention those things. We're just focusing on smoke this time. And issuing a citation or giving a ticket, having the police go over there and give them a ticket, doesn't stop the smoke, doesn't take care of the problem. In fact, if they only receive a single or a couple of citations for the entire weekend, that by many is just considered as an additional tax or a fee to continue breaking the bylaw. And Karen can give her perspective in her words.
Hi, thank you for listening. Okay, I'm kind of at a loss because we've come so many times, but I'm going to ask Council to seriously consider my health issues, and not only mine, but we do have a couple of other neighbors in the area that the smoke does bother them, and they do have health issues as well. There's one here in the room that if you would like, she would testify as well.
It's our delegation.
Well, no, but I mean, just to confirm what I'm saying, like for her, only her health issues, but
Sorry.
you sound like a woman.
Being as she has mobility issues, could she just mention a word sitting there instead of coming up here?
Yeah, that'd be, I think we have a microphone here. We have a couple of council members that have hearing issues, so if we could use the microphone, that's why we have the system here, allows them to fully participate. So certainly. Yep, we're good.
My name is Carol Noble, and I live across the road from Sid and Karen. I have been an asthmatic. I have been on asthma medication for 49 years, and moving out to the country from the city had greatly improved my asthma. But I cannot even go over to Karen and Sid's during this time, before, during, and even a little after, because there's always people there, with the smoke that is so bad, I cannot even visit because I have to leave. I cannot breathe. And I mean, I take medication morning and night, twice a day, every day, and have, like I said, since I moved here 22 years ago. And it's just unbelievable. You can't even go in their house, and you can almost cut it with a knife. That's how thick it is. There's 2 or 3 times I've had to literally leave and go home. And because the wind is from 90% of the time out of the west, it's right there. And even outside, like, you can't even sit out and have a drink or two on the patio, which we all like to do in the summertime. You can't do that. So and the first time that I heard Karen, and she couldn't talk, she was whispering to me. And it was just unbelievable. I don't get that bad, but I get bad enough that I can't stay there. So I really feel for what she's going through, because I know what it's like to have lungs that don't work properly. Okay.
Thank you, Carol. Now, I understand that the police officers don't like going over there, and as Councillor Thompson knows, when we went to see him as deputy chief, he said that he wasn't going over there and he wasn't sending his men over there because it wasn't safe. Fire Chief Swartz has told us the same. He won't go without police escort. So that, and I've mentioned that here at council before, I believe. So it leaves us with nowhere to go. We have done every angle we can think of, and it always comes back to see council. In fact, Fire Chief Swartz also told us you need to go to council. So I'm asking council to please direct the fire chief to put a ban on the fires and the burning of those tires, at least for the long weekend. It's not as bad other times, but there's many days when they're there that we do have to close our windows. But when the week, 2 weeks before and a week, 2 weeks after, it's very hard to be kept in a house that is full of smoke. And I know we have had officials say, well, why don't you just leave? First of all, I shouldn't have to leave my home. I moved here to be nestled in nature. I moved here for fresh air. I moved here for the nature. I don't have the money to go away for the weekend, let alone 2, 3, and 4 weeks. And I know some people would be sitting there thinking, well, if it's for your health and it's that bad, why don't you go? Well, it is for my health and it is that bad, but I don't have the money to go. And if I did have the money to go, who's going to look after my animal? Who's going to look after my market gardens? There's a lot involved. And it seems to me with the 2 bylaws that are already in here, that we could at least get this. ABATE has been there for years. breaking every bylaw, breaking every rule, doing everything the council says they can't do, and heads are turned and things are ignored because they're before county. So I'm before you asking you to please give us this. Not just for us, but for Carol, for our other neighbors, and for another one that's not here that has, I'd say his health issues are worse than mine. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
So in conclusion, thank you, Darryl. The August long weekend's approaching. There hasn't been a decision regarding whether this is appropriate land use of the land. So a site plan agreement hasn't been drafted. And we're requesting that council direct the fire chief to enforce the burn bylaw by regulating the fires and place a ban on burning tires at the ABATE event. It's within the power of the chief in General Provision 3 that he can issue a fire ban. It doesn't have to be for the entire municipality. It doesn't have to be for everyone. Just for this one event to eliminate the smoke and to eliminate the burning of tires, which I really don't think there's any municipality in the civilized world that burns tires or allows tires to be burnt. Tires aren't designed to be burnt. It could be argued that fireworks, that makes smoke and that bothers people too. Well, perhaps, but fireworks is designed to be burned. Tires in no way, shape, or form are designed to be burnt. So, what became of discussions with Police Berger?
I think the Police Chief Berger. Does any council member have any questions at this time for Sid or Karen? Thoughts? Phil, have you got any comments, questions?
I've got a lot of comments and questions, no, but I'd like to, first thing is your bylaw number is wrong. It's 73, 2008. You might want to change that.
Thank you.
It says 40.
I copied this. I copied this off of the West Gray website.
That's funny. I got a bylaw here. It says 73, 2008. So we must have amended it after this one. So you must have got no bylaw. What you have in the bylaw is 100% right. There's nobody in this room that can force me to put a fire ban on or anything. I'm a provincial offense officer. That's my decision. I don't think putting a fire ban on is going to solve the problem because I think they're still going to have fires. And I'm going to tell you now, I will not go out there when the weekend's on.
And would you care to share with us why you refuse to go out there?
Do you think I'm going to go out and tell 400 bikers to put their campfires out?
They're motorcycle enthusiasts.
Hey?
They're motorcycle enthusiasts.
Yeah, some of them look pretty shady looking too. And I don't trust any of them. And it's a health and safety issue for me too.
And we understand that. And we don't want anybody else's health. I'm sorry.
Through me, please.
He was talking directly to us, so I was answering. I completely understand that he has issues, fears, whatever, of going over there. I don't wish for him or any of the other firemen to get hurt. I don't wish for our police department to get hurt. But certainly, if we have somebody that has the authority to do something and they refuse to do it, I'm sorry, but why are you in the position?
I'm not refusing, man. I don't care.
You just did.
That's right, for my own safety.
Probably we take just a second back and not in an argument about who's going to do what or anything. Under the legislation, I believe our fire chief has the interpretation of how he wants to, and as he is very correctly in saying, he takes that and interprets the laws, and I believe there is a mechanism for that, but it's not this council. That's through the fire marshal's office that he is not fulfilling his duties.
We went to the fire marshal's office and it came back that we should go to our municipality.
Said enforcement of bylaws is the purview of municipality.
Well, now we're talking about two different things. You said one about him not doing his duties, and now you're back onto the bylaws. So let's stick with the bylaw. We will discuss this, see where we're going to go with it. I don't know whether you are aware of it. You said that there was no site plan. There is a draft site plan before county at this time.
Last week there wasn't.
Well, the county's got some, or county planners and our planners have input on it, Mark.
Yeah, there is a preliminary site plan agreement that has been discussed among the applicant and the county and municipal planner. I have reviewed that to some extent too. It will in turn have to go to the municipal solicitor. However, there are certain securities West Grey is waiting for before that is done. Obviously, at some point, that site plan agreement will go to likely council for consideration. As you know or may be aware, the county, there's an official plan amendment required at the county level that has to be passed prior to consideration of the zoning bylaw, or typically it is, or I guess a decision is made, passed or not passed, or refused for that matter. And then the municipality typically deals with the zoning and the site plan agreement. I did speak to the senior planner at the county, Scott Taylor. He has indicated in an email that apparently there were some discussions among Mr. Taylor and the consultant from Questa Planning that it might be appropriate if the applicant deems so, or the property owner deems so, to give an opportunity for the property owner or some of the abutting property owners to review the site plan and comment on it at some stage before it comes to council. That is really at the privy of, I gather, the applicant to decide that. But if there is some direction from the applicant or the property owner to do so, that might be an opportunity for the Parkins and perhaps some other individuals to take a look at it. It may not address all of their concerns. It may help alleviate some of them, or maybe there might be some amendments that could alleviate some of their concerns, perhaps not all their concerns. Of course, you know the official plan and the zoning bylaw are appealable, whether it's passed or not, by both the property owner or any individuals or agencies. The site plan agreement is not appealable. But the official plan and zoning are. And as you are aware, and I think council is aware, that we had hoped that this issue would have been addressed years ago. Unfortunately, there's been delays. The noise issue seemed to be the preeminent one, and there was some consulting work done by some peer review work done. A consultant for the property owner completed some noise assessment report. There's a peer review done by the County of Grey, and some of those changes are perhaps reflected in the site plan agreement, or some of those findings, at least to some extent. And now, of course, it seems like the smoke is becoming another major issue too, which I think there may have been some concerns to start, but maybe not as prevalent as they are now. So perhaps that warrants some further discussion with the property owner.
Any other questions or comments from council? Well, I thank you very much for the presentation. We'll take that under consideration and be working with staff to monitor the situation.
So that leaves us
gasping for air.
Gasping for air again. We're nothing. No. No burn bylaws, there's nobody, Phil doesn't want to go in there, there's nobody he can designate to go in and do something about this?
We will work with, we'll be having discussions from what you've brought up and be working with staff on mitigation factors going forward.
But will we hear anything before the weekend? Because we're still waiting from last October to find out.
Possibly you will, yes. I'm not guaranteeing anything, no. But possibly if we can come up with something, absolutely you'll hear from us.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sid. Thank you, Karen.
And would, just in leaving, would the burn bylaw not be enforced for this entire long weekend in August, for the entire municipality, or for just these organizers of this event?
I think the burn bylaw is in place for the municipality, and the interpretation of that is with the fire chief and or his designate.
Thank you.
I believe we're down to staff reports and Director of Finance. Treasurer, Carrie, welcome this evening. The vouchers is the approval of the vouchers is the first report that's there. We've had the luxury of having it. Lovely reading for over the weekend. Any questions or comments on the vouchers? I had one, Carrie, and I apologize for not getting to you earlier about it. We've had to spray spiders. Did we do the house? There's 3 different ones in there. So one would be here, one was corporate, one was administration, or
yeah, we
2?
did the municipal office, the George Street property, and the sewage treatment plant. All 3 locations were done.
Okay. There's just, on the sewage treatment plant, it's listed as 554 George Street. That's what, okay. Yeah, just a little bit of a bad description.
Mistake in the description, yeah, the description should have been amended. That was for the one
yes.
in the previous entry. Yeah.
There was a lot of spiders we had to do twice.
Yeah, that's it. Mark's, obviously that's why it rains every Tuesday. We've stepped on the spiders, haven't we? Yeah, it's your fault. Okay, any other questions or comments on the vouchers as they were presented? Councillor Eccles, John, what, you got an OE there or an OE?
Well, it's really not about this, but I see the county civic addressing signs, and I've heard complaints that we don't have any T-rails to go with them, that they don't work.
I'm gonna look to Ken, he's the T-rail guy.
We buy T-rails from, not necessarily the county, maybe the hardware, but that's never been an issue.
Okay.
I had somebody the other day want to know if they were sent here from here to the co-op and their sign wouldn't fit on a T-bar or some sort of thing like that. So.
I've never heard that before, John, so.
Okay.
I've seen some individuals get very creative on hanging those signs up.
Yep.
Yeah. They are steel, but they can have holes drilled in them. They could. Okay. Let their engineering genius take over. Any other questions on the vouchers before I introduce the motion to receive or accept? I have a motion moved by Mark Rapke and seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that the Director of Finance Treasurer be authorized to pay the accounts presented as voucher number 13, 2014 of the Municipality of West Grey in the amount of $696,197.86. Any questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. The next one, Carrie, on your report is the excuse me, is the energy conservation and demand management plan. Got my tongue wrapped around that one, sorry. Comments, Carrie?
Yeah, so I've put together a draft plan. It's certainly something that'll be a living document if we make priorities for different energy conservation as we move through our 5- and 10-year budgets. But this is something to actually get on the books and satisfy the requirements of the legislation under the OREG 397.
One thing, the province has kind of set a target of 1.5% per year in energy reduction. 2012, we did a few large projects and it dropped. We saw almost a 12.5%. Can we amortize that over about the next 5 years and meet the target just that way? No,
There's
you're
no
shaking your head.
mandatory requirements for targets within our plans, but they are strongly encouraged. It's, yeah, we're...
Yeah. So we can't backtrack and retro some of that. I think that going forward we may see some more funding coming out of the province and maybe the feds to achieve some of these mandates. Councillor Marshall, Don.
Was that 12% just on one facility or overall?
That's overall.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that, yeah, had to do with certainly our arenas that year. We did some of our street lighting, Ken, and is that the fire hall installation? I think was in on that one as well too, Don. Yeah. And no, I was going to say, would that be the Newstead Hall? But no, the Newstead Hall was before that. Yeah. But anyways, it's done well. Okay. Any other questions? Bev, Councillor Cutting.
I have to wonder why we have to wait till September of 2015 to turn off electronic devices like coffee makers, printers, and calculators and phone chargers. Why can't we just send out an email and tell them once, you know, make sure that before you leave the building that all electronic devices are shut off? That seems like a very easy thing to do. I'm just wondering why it has to be a year from now that we do that.
Sometimes it's difficult to get the memos all out there. No.
I mean, that's something that can be done quickly and efficiently and done. Then we could put done instead of pending. Oh, complete.
Monday morning, the coffee won't be ready till a little bit later.
No. Yep. That works.
I think the biggest thing that, it's not a carved in stone. It's what we can work at, coming up with options, new technologies that are out there. One of the interesting things, I think I heard, your charger for Blackberries on a yearly basis uses $1.75 in electricity to charge it on a yearly basis. That's what it costs. I was astounded. I thought it would have been a lot more than that, but that's what they say.
Is that off-peak hours, sir, or off-peak hours?
I didn't get that deep into it. I just heard it was $1.75 to charge your BlackBerry for the year or cell phone.
Canadian or American?
Yeah, Canadian dollars. Okay, any other questions on the demand plan? Staff will continuously look at it and we'll get updates from you, Carrie, on an ongoing basis. I have a motion moved by Don B. Marshall and seconded by John Eccles. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves the Energy Conservation and Demand Management Plan for the period 2014 to 2018, and further that Council will consider allocations of necessary resources to continue to develop and implement a strategic energy management plan that will reduce the municipality's energy consumption and its related environmental impact. Ken, did we go to biofuels, biodiesel in 2012? Would have that been one of the ones that helped us, or were we before that? Just trying to think of other things. Oh, Carrie's shaking her head. Okay.
We weren't reporting on any, just buildings that were heated or cooled, plus our water sewer systems, so that would be more fleet. We can certainly expand on it in our plan, but it's not one of the required consumptions that we have to report on. So that's, I haven't included that. I've only done the minimum if it's heated or cooled and we own it or lease it, and plus our water sewer systems.
So it'll be that water sewer, because we did a couple of major upgrades in 2012 on the water sewer. Soft start pumps and things like that that would have dropped our electrical consumption considerably there. Bev?
Well, I have to say it. I mean,
you go right ahead.
I'm going to. It mind boggles me that this is, I'm assuming, the provincial government legislation is asking us to unplug our coffee makers, et cetera, to do a pending energy conservation and demand management plan when we're dumping hydro into Quebec and the States and giving it away at, paying people to take it, and we're under, these guidelines to do conservation by this kind of stuff. It's mind-boggling. The dichotomy of the government, of the provincial government, one hand is doing this and the other hand is doing this. It just blows your mind how inefficient and ridiculous they are. There, I said it.
You've got her turned off down there, Carol? At least the microphone is. I'm not going to say that she is. Her microphone is. It is, the only comment I'll make on that, Bev, is that yes, there are times when there's energy being given away. From what I understand, though, they're on a year-to-year basis. Ontario sells more energy than we certainly give away. On a net, there's a revenue generation. But to try and figure it out, it's worse than trying to figure out your hydro bill that you get on a monthly basis. Of how it, well, or unless, and there's a few people out there that haven't had one in 6 months either. And they're scared.
Completely different. Anyways.
Okay. Any other comments on the energy demand management? Call the question on the motion. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Anything else, Carrie? Sorry. Well, I'm trying to get her attention here. Anything else, Carrie? Any comments on the trillium? We have 2 trillium bylaws. There's 2 trillium bylaws and 1 community foundations grant that the municipalities kind of flowed through us. The 2 trillium, the one is for the Normanby Arena upgrades. The second one is for the Elmwood Homecoming. And then the Grey Bruce Community Foundations, or Grey Bruce Community Foundations grant that has been received. I believe we've got the check. Well, I was told last, yeah. Anyway, some of them have been mailed, they've been written. I was talking to Ali Boltman, the executive director, and very happy for us to receive that for the warming center in the Durham Arena. So we'll soon see that project going forward with this funding. Any comments on the bylaws that are there, Carrie, before you slip out on us, or any questions on those before Carrie slips away, before they're introduced? Very good. Okay. Well, thank you, Carrie. And I guess we're down to Ken. So Public Works, your first report, Ken, is there on the Smiley Cemetery. Got another grass cutting to do.
Yes, the Priceville St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church have turned over the maintenance, or asking West Grey if they provide the maintenance on the I'm not just too sure how you pronounce that, whether it's Smiley's or is it Smelly's Cemetery at the corner of Grey Road 4 and Glenelg Road 23. It's going to take a little bit of trimming. There's some trees that have to be thinned out, and just a matter of going through it with the weed eater or whatever, and then we could turn it over to our contractor that provides lawn maintenance service for us. So he is currently doing a few of them. He does the one across from the former Watson farm there, just east of there, and
McKechnie's, isn't that the McKechnie?
Yeah, McKechnie Cemetery, and of course the one out here and the one at the edge of Hanover. So, but I think this is going to continue to be forced onto the municipalities, these cemeteries that are abandoned. Some of the people looking after the churches are getting older, I guess, up in years, and the younger generation maybe isn't taking over. I'm not sure, but anyway, this is another one that we'll be putting into our system.
Any questions for Ken before I introduce the motion? John, Councillor Eccles.
It's a rhetorical question, Ken. I don't want to answer, but why can't we just phone the Ministry of Tourism? They seem to be concerned about the one out here. Maybe they'll look after them for us.
No answer necessary, Ken. I give you advice to leave that one alone. I have a motion moved by Bev Cutting, seconded by Carol Lawrence. Resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves assuming the maintenance of Smelly Cemetery located at Part Lot 31, Concession 1, NDR, former Township of Glenelg, as requested by the Board of Managers of St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church. Any questions or comments on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Okay. Ken, the next one is on the R&B Recreation Advisory Committee to install some capital upgrades for the snack booth there.
Yes, I'm just asking council if we could refer this to the committee of the whole a week from today. We weren't able to get all the information, financial information that we asked for in regards to the exhaust hood and wall guard. We did get some information on the fire suppression system. We also contacted the contractor that installed the soft roof to ask what it may cost to reseal that and whatever. So if we could, and our arena manager went on holiday, so I'm just wondering if we could defer this to a week from today, and we'll get some more information.
That sound fair to council? I see thumbs up coming from pretty much everybody and nods of the head on this side. I look forward to that. Speaking of the Narnby Arena, did the summer ice start this week or was it last week?
I believe the first hockey school started yesterday.
Oh.
The Primo.
Yeah, so that's when the arena manager, he's going on holidays. He doesn't want to be around when it starts up. Tom's been doing it for a number of years. Things will be in place if he's off on holidays. Carol?
Say it started at 5:30 last night. He had a grandstand in it. And I do also want to say it's just an opportunity. The arena looks really great. They've done a super job cleaning it up, fixing it up. It looks shiny floors. It looks great. Yeah. Very
good. Okay. One other one on here, Ken. You've got the renewal agreement for the McKay pit and for our access to the municipal pit. think it's more here just for information. The bylaw comes forward later. Anything you want to comment on it, Ken?
Just that we've worked with Mrs. McKay through the Glenelg years, I guess for the last 27 that I've been here. She's been part of the Glen Gravel Pit over there, and she's very good to work with. And we do need that pit of hers for an entrance into the West Grey Pit because of the topography on County Road 12. I think we'd have trouble getting out of there without a major construction project. So it's worked well in the past, and I expect it'll continue to work well. So.
Any questions on that bylaw? Well, Ken's still here. Don, Councillor Marshall.
Just one thing that does concern me in that is that first right of refusal, that if it does come up for sale and it does not list an amount on there. I know it's hard to put an amount in there, but if we have to have that property to gain access, then it really makes it sort of a seller's market, that they can ask whatever they want, and if we refuse, then they just sell to somebody else for less. But I don't know how it could be worded in there that it'd be an appraised value rather than a like every property has an appraised value on it by these appraisal people, I guess. So that's something we can incorporate in there if that was necessary or not.
Mr. Gould, handle this one.
That's something we can certainly talk with Mrs. McKay about, Don. That sounds like a pretty good idea, probably. It may have to be appraised, I guess, every 5 years, probably, because of the real estate values. But we could include in there that the property has to be appraised if there is an interest in selling.
Yes, it wouldn't have to be appraised every 5 years of the renewal of the contract. Just if it ever did come up for sale, it would be listed in there that first right of refusal on somewhere near an appraised price.
John, Deputy Mayor Bell?
Yeah, one more thought with that, Ken. Is there, how long will it be before we're out of her area or she's out of gravel, we'll put it that way? How long will that be? And that includes along the road and along our property there.
Yeah, she's pretty much out of the licensed area there now.
Is she? Okay.
Yeah, there's a bit of, I don't think we'd crush it. There's a bit of pretty sandy pit run there that we may use for a construction project. But as far as the current license, it's pretty much exhausted her pits. Just more or less the entrance is what we're mainly interested in.
Exactly. Okay, thank you.
If I could add, you did mention out at the road, yeah, there's a bit of a berm area or an encroachment area there at the road. And I think as council's aware, if the contractor on the other side would exercise his option going forward, there would be some to be able to be extracted there, but that's between the operator of the pit to the east and Mrs. McKay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ken has just said there's nothing really in the licensed area for a pit anymore. It's accessible. Okay. All right. Anything else, Ken, to comment on where we're at with grass cutting on the roadsides or any of those good things?
I believe I talked to Tim today, and he expects to be finished this week with the roadside grass cutting. I think there's 2 out there going. So the sidewalks are in Elmwood, trimmed up, look very good. There's a little bit of asphalt to do on the main street area where there's quite a rise between the boulevard and the sidewalk. They're going to do that this week, and it should be completed. Looks real good.
Yeah. Looks very bright on the east side of Elmwood. I don't know what they're going to do on the Brockton side where it's kind of dull, but we'll let them worry about that. Thanks, Rob. John.
They do look good. I've been driving up and down that road. And I watched them progress up and down through the village, and then the guys up there working all week, but they do look good.
I think the contractor we had do it was Plumeville. They've done a number of those sidewalk projects. They're very good at those types of things. Anything else, Ken? Anything else for Ken?
No, I don't think so. I think that's all I have this time.
Very good. Okay. Then we'll move down. Anything else for Ken or anybody else? Ms. Cutting.
I do have a question for Ken. I don't know whether you received this 12th Side Road request to have the brush cut back. Is there any, can you give me any insight into that? I realize he's been asking for a couple of years, and
Brian Hatch.
it's not a maintained road. I understand that. So is that, pardon?
There's no winter maintenance
no
on that
winter
road?
maintenance, right. That's what I meant. So is that our reasoning for not doing any? We don't want to, there's a separate standard for it?
Certainly, it's not the highest priority we have, but it is in the works to, we're going to make one pass. We're hoping to make one pass through there with the machine when it comes, and I believe in the next 2 or 3 weeks. That
one?
Yes. Once we beat Glenelg Road 23 down, we're headed across there to Side Road 12 in Bennick. No, it's in the works there.
Okay, I just wondered because I thought I'd just bring it forward.
I think we've all received those emails and whatnot, yes.
That's why I was asking.
John.
Are we going to communicate with this person that it's going to happen?
If we can get as much reception as we can to say that we're going to do it and he should stop doing it, you know, on our property, yes, I guess we will.
Yeah, our road supervisor, Tim Cook's been in constant contact with him. Every time he sends an email, I send Tim out there, and he's been talking to him. There has been a matter of him taking the brush into his own hands and cutting it, and we've told him to not do that anymore more than once, but so far things haven't worked out just as well as what we planned, but we will continue to talk to him. Hasn't been an issue. We may not return his emails, but we're talking face to face to him, so it's hasn't been a problem with that way.
Okay. Don, Councillor Marshall.
I guess the residents out there should know that this is the brushing machine, and I think that it was Georgian Bluffs that had a bit of an issue with this machine going down a road and knocking these trees off with a baseball bat and not with a chainsaw. It looks pretty aggressive sometimes, so as long as they know what's coming.
Yep. Okay. Nothing else then, Ken? Move on. Larry, I think we've dealt with your report. Okay. So if there's nothing else there, I'll move us down to bylaws, Mark. Do you want to do that now, or do you want your other report, or you want to do it under new business there?
Whatever is
If you've got it, yeah. Give us out to us now.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. It's just more or less a overall report. We received a request from the Municipality of Wawa to join them in their efforts to get the Power Dam Special Payment Program, which under the Ontario budget was to be cut back significantly over the next 4 years, to participate in their current issue to have that slowed down. They sent out an initial email from the CAO himself, and just to highlight that the program is very small. It's only $18.7 million that was contributed by the province back to local municipalities in the way of clawbacks in 2014. Payments range from $158 per municipality to over $2,350,000, 66.512% of own purpose taxation. And there's a number of highlights in that, in those concerns. We were one of the municipalities that were listed. There was a large number of them, over 110, I believe, province-wide. The intention is to drop that funding from 18.7 million in 2014 to drop it down to 14.3 through clawbacks on an annual basis. It's certainly hitting a number of municipalities very, very hard. Wawa, for example, 50% of their own purpose taxation is raised or generated through this grant. They were hit initially back in 2001 when they took the ability to tax those power dam operations away from municipalities and replaced by this dam reimbursement program. In regards to West Grey, we currently receive $1,440 on an annual basis in regards to this. The Treasurer has calculated that based over the loss over the next to 2017, there'd be approximate loss of $340 for the municipality of West Grey. It's obviously a much more significant issue to other municipalities, and the Mayor and I spoke in regards to this, and I'm bringing it to Council's attention to ascertain whether or not we would be interested in participating with those other 110 municipalities in regards to trying to get a more equitable dealing with the power dam special payment program. I look to direction of her discussion with Council.
Any thoughts on it? All that I can say is it's very, very minimal to West Grey. Certainly has an impact to other municipalities. One of the ones I'm not sure of, and haven't really been able to, Larry, in my own research, wondering about Niagara Falls. Like, you know, fair bit of generation going through there, but I don't know whether it's classified as a dam or really just water diversion on that one. So I don't think that they pay, but I haven't been able to figure that one out, what that would mean to Niagara if that was taken away. On a, my fear for Council of joining in on something like this, as soon as you join in on a fight like this, somebody's coming and asking you for a check. The $300 that we're going to probably, estimated to lose, maybe it's time to step back and let somebody else fight this fight. And, they ask us for $500 from each municipality. I don't think that's a very wise investment. 500 to gain 300 or maintain 300 at this point. My opinion, but strictly that. Don, Councillor Marshall.
I guess I don't exactly understand what you said there, Larry. So they're taking $18 million and they're cutting back almost $4 million. West Grey is getting $1,400 for the Rocky Saugeen Dam?
I think it's the Rocky Saugeen, and it might be the other one might be in Ayton.
The Ayton Dam? Yeah,
there's another one. I don't believe that we have any other. I think those are the two dams that come in under that power generation.
So we're getting paid per kilowatt of production of them dams?
Gets into hydro and it gets into a formula. And once you get into that formula, it gets kind of confusing. There's just a payment that's made. As Larry said, in 2001, the provincial government took away the right to tax on assessment base and said, here's a grant in lieu, basically, for those dams.
So the municipality was taxing the Rocky on their dam. We took that away, and the province, okay, coming around now. So now they're taking away the revenue.
Now they're reducing the payment in lieu. Yeah.
Everyone can see that one coming.
All right, I'll digest that for a minute.
Bev, Councillor Kathi?
We don't really need to join in, but we could support their argument. I mean, the difference of $200 to us is it's annoying, but it's neither here nor there, but $4 or $5 million drop to a municipality like that, we could support it in principle without actually joining in the fight, I believe. I think the more voices that that they can send CC'd that have agreed would hold some weight.
Yeah. Is it the wish of council just to bring a resolution to the next council meeting? Mark, you had a question.
Well, no, it wasn't a question, but I wanted to follow up on Bev. If we talk about this issue in isolation, it's $300, but the point is, when we kind of get in on these with all the other municipalities, it's all to do with cutbacks and in effect, it's a downloading, right? Because they removed the taxation and now they're removing this. So it's a matter of principle, I think, that we join with them, at least initially, and as a point of contention that as municipalities, we want to raise the issue that we can't, every time they pull one of these, funding or a downloading back, then it just means that it's more financial burden on us. In this case, it's minimal, but it's still just a principle, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Larry.
To follow up, I would wholeheartedly agree with the comments from council this evening that perhaps monetarily it's not a huge hit for the municipality of West Grey, but it's the principle. It's the whole idea of the realignment of funding coming from the province, and it's the old divide and conquer. Maybe if we only hit a quarter of them, of the 445 municipalities, then there won't be quite as much of an ouch. And that's the issue that you face in taking concerns forward to AMO. AMO will only engage and participate in lobbying on behalf of municipalities, provided it's a broad-based program that municipalities can get behind and focus on. So an item like this, while it may be of a minor financial matter to the local municipality, it has larger, broader bearing, and I think it's wise for municipality just to consider looking at it from a principal point of view that we support Wawa and the other ones that are affected much more drastically financially than we are. In the case of Wawa, I do have a copy of the letter that the mayor wrote to the Premier, and in here it's some amount like they're going to have to raise their local taxation 12.6% just to cover the loss of this, and that's not including the realignment of the OMPF program and the other programs that are being downloaded or downsized, for lack of a better term, at the current time. So I think it would be a prudent course of action if council would consider to just support it in principle on a go-forward basis and let them know that they're not alone.
Okay. So, no, I think we'll just, Deputy Mayor Bell will send, just have a resolution come forward, give direction to staff for the next council meeting that we can, for approving. Let Mark have time to draft it up and get the right wording behind it. So, fine with that, Mark?
Yeah.
Very good. Yep. Okay. Anything else there, Mr. Adams?
No, Your Worship, just Councillor Marshall was requesting clarification for the Wawa situation, so I just provided him with some detail. Other than that, no.
Good. Okay. Nothing else. Mark, bylaws. Is that what we're down to?
First bylaw being deferred. Yeah. First bylaw is deferred.
I believe that in conversation there. Do we want to defer this first bylaw? Councillor Marshall had brought the point of under that right of first refusal and getting some more definitive language around that. So we're okay with deferring then 53.
I should explain 54.
And Mark, you want to explain 54. Well, you go right ahead. So we'll move down to number 54.
Given the passage of time, this proposed bylaw relates to a municipal servicing agreement which speaks to allowing a building permit on a road that is not maintained year-round, and the municipality of West Grey Council's position on allowing building permits or development on roads that aren't maintained year-round is that they do not permit that. However, back in 2010, there were some discussions in the early part of 2010 with West Grey Council. This is somewhat of an extenuating circumstance due to the former Bentic Township Council basically had entered into an agreement with one of the property owners along this road that provided actual maintenance of the road for this, a former property owner named Judy Graffner. And at that time as well, Benda Council had initiated the process, including a bylaw that would permit a building permit to be issued for Ms. Graffner's property. And then the subsequent owner, Bambina Amola, had made some overtures to council about whether they would honor that type of agreement. And back in May of 2010, there was some direction from council and a letter that went out from myself to Ms. Amola that stated that a willingness to enter into this municipal servicing agreement that would basically protect the municipality from offering any further maintenance of that road other than what is currently performed, which is probably maybe a grading of the road once a year. This was done on a few occasions by the former Township of Bentic as well, but it's been discouraged and not supported by West Grey for any new kind of request in that regard. But given the circumstance, it was indicated at the time by West Grey Council that they would consider supporting that. So Ms. Amola did come to the municipal office last week, and I did contact the municipal solicitor just to make sure that the $700 payment would still cover the registration of the bylaw on title, which Ian Johnson did concur that would be sufficient still, so that payment was made. And she has actually signed the agreement, and now it's up to council to decide if they wish to pursue passing such a bylaw.
Okay, with that information, what's the feeling of council for introducing this bylaw? Well, I don't see anybody opposed to it, so let's get it signed. And Mark will pass out the other resolutions for the bylaws, the other bylaws to be introduced. Are none of them going that way? Yes, we do have lots of them. This Sorry, we'll start with bylaw number 54 and start with the servicing agreement between Bambina Amola and the municipality. We have a motion moved by Rob Thompson and seconded by Don B. Marshall. Be it resolved that the bylaw number 54, 2014, being a bylaw to enter into a municipal servicing agreement between the municipality of West Grey and Bambina Amola on lands described as Part Lot 57, Concession 3, SDR, Part 1, RP 16R6697, PIN 372200120, former Township of Bentic, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the Mayor and the CEO, Deputy Clerk, sealed with the seal of the Corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Is there any questions or comments on this bylaw? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay, earmark. Next one is 55. Letter of agreement with the Trillium Foundation, the Elmwood Homecoming. There's a motion moved by Carol Lawrence and seconded by Mark Rapke. Be it resolved that bylaw number 55, 2014, being a bylaw to enter into a letter of agreement between the Ontario Trillium Foundation and the Corporation of the Municipality of West Grey, Elmwood Homecoming, be now read a first, second, third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the Mayor and the CEO, Deputy Clerk, sealed with the seal of the Corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Is there any questions or comments on this motion? Yes, Mark, just for clarification, the Elmwood Homecoming is a joint venture, but this one is just between West Grey and the Elmwood Homecoming. Brockton doesn't need to sign off on this one. Yep, you're the Mark I'm asking, and you know, I think I know the answer. Do you want me to answer to it?
I gather the treasurer would have considered that, yes.
Yeah, it's just between the municipality of West Grey. Brockton's not involved in it. Okay, any other questions or comments? Call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Bylaw number 56 is a letter of agreement between the Trillium Foundation and West Grey. This one's surrounding the Normanby Arena Hall. I have a motion moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that bylaw number 56, 2014, being a bylaw to enter into a letter of agreement between the Ontario Trillium Foundation and the Corporation of the Municipality of West Grey, Normanby Arena and Hall, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the Mayor and the CEO, Deputy Clerk, sealed with the seal of the Corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Is there any questions or comments on this motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. I'm going to find it. Number 57 is a bylaw entering into an agreement between the Community Foundation, Grey Bruce, and the municipality around the Durham Arena warming room. So I have a motion moved by Carol Lawrence and seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that bylaw number 57, 2014, being a bylaw to enter into an agreement between the Community Foundation, Grey Bruce, and the Corporation of the Municipality of West Grey, Durham Arena warming room, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the Mayor and the CEO, Deputy Clerk, sealed with the seal of the Corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on this bylaw? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Number 58 is a bylaw agreement between the Municipality of West Grey and a lease with McLean's Home Hardware on leasing municipal property on a short term. I have a motion moved by John Eccles and seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that bylaw number 58, 2014, being a bylaw to authorize the Mayor and the CEO, Deputy Clerk, to enter into a lease agreement between the Municipality of West Grey and Doug McLean, McLean's Home Hardware, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that said bylaw be signed by the Mayor, the CEO, Deputy Clerk, sealed with the seal of the Corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on this motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. All right. We have bylaw number 59 is a bylaw for the canteen rental of the Durham District Community Centre, Denise Grove. I have a motion moved by David Mollison, seconded by Mark Rapke. Be it resolved that bylaw number 59, 2014, being a bylaw to approve and authorize the execution of a canteen rental agreement at the Durham District Community Centre, Denise Grove, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and the said bylaw be signed by the Mayor, the CEO, Deputy Clerk, sealed with the seal of the Corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments? Councillor Lawrence. Carol?
Thanks. I just wonder if there shouldn't be a clause in there somewhat more specific than under maintenance, that the person, whoever it is that is leasing that canteen, it's their responsibility to give proper care to the fryer, for instance, that they you know, continually filter the oil and clean the filters in the venting system, and it doesn't really mention that here. And I know when we first talked to her, I guess it wasn't in the agreement, but it was laid out that that is their responsibility. And I wonder if it shouldn't mention it a little more specific. Like I'm thinking of specifically the fryer and the grill and the venting system, because they're very expensive equipment, and they do take regular care. And it's not, you know, it's not the arena's place to do that. But I just think it should make some mention of it in here, other than saying she's just responsible, period. Lay it out a little more clearly.
I don't know if we want to get to that detail, or
well,
be something that would be...
It's rather important.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want that much detail, but like all it talks here is making sure the kitchen's left in a clean and tidy manner. Mm-hmm. You could have a clean and tidy kitchen, but one heck of a greasy filter in your venting system, or...
Rob?
Yeah, you may know, Carol, who's been doing that cleaning before? Like, she's had this contract for some time, and...
Well, I believe she is, but it doesn't
so it's
hurt
obviously she's still doing...
I'm sure she is,
Yeah.
but it just doesn't hurt to lay it out, and then this will, you know, if it's not her another time, this will be the basis of a new contract. And just, it's sort of important that equipment is properly maintained by the lessee.
Level of maintenance and cleanliness.
Possibly. I would have kind of expected it under the memorandum of understanding, rather than perhaps what's in the contract. Maybe we can just take that under advisement, and you know, maybe have a discussion or I'm not saying she doesn't do it. I believe she's keeping that in very good, you know, very good condition. But it doesn't hurt to have that understanding, I think.
Yeah, point well taken. Do we want something maybe even into the minutes of discussion surrounding this, that the interpretation would be towards specifically the fryer grease?
Sure, because then it's somewhere.
Yeah, and referred back, staff can refer back to that from that number 11 there on the what we're meaning on the level of maintenance. So it answers that specifically. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, good point. Any other questions on this one? Then I'll call the question on the motion. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Number 60 is a bylaw for entering into a land use agreement for the Elmwood homecoming between a property owner, basically for parking. And I have a motion moved by John A. Bell, seconded by John Eccles. Be it resolved that bylaw number 60, 2014, being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk to enter into an agreement between the municipality of West Grey, the municipality of Brockton, and Ivan Eric Schutneck and Kevin Ivan Schutneck, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on this motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. I think, Carol.
Before you go to the next bylaw, I'm declaring a conflict on bylaw 61.
Okay. Councillor Cutting has declared a conflict on 60. Councillor Cutting, Councillor Lawrence. Well, I was getting close to that right end of the table down there. Sorry, Carol. And Bev for the mix-up. Councillor Lawrence declared a conflict. Mark, do you want, before we introduce this one, a comment?
Yes, just for council's information, the zoning bylaw for the Harold Sutherland pit on Baptist Church Road was now called the Hooper Pit. It was a board-ordered zoning bylaw amendment, and in that bylaw amendment, it included a holding provision. The holding provision was to be removed when the development agreement was signed, and that bylaw came in effect, or actually the development agreement was signed August of last year, and unfortunately that was an oversight that the holding symbol was not brought. The removal of the holding symbol bylaw was not brought sooner to council, and that's the reason why it's here today.
Okay. No other questions? I'll introduce. Have somebody sign that. You individuals down at the back, it's soon going to get to you if this doesn't. Try to come back here once more.
Excuse me, could you
Get it done. Okay, I have a motion moved by John Eccles, seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that bylaw number 61, 2014, being a bylaw to remove the holding symbol H from certain lands described as part lots 16 and 17, concession 2 NDR, and part lots 17, 18, 19, and 20, concession 1 NDR, Municipality of West Grey, within the former township of Glenelg, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Declare that carried. Okay. That's it for bylaws, Mark. New business. Councillor Eccles. John.
We have a list of councillors and their contact information on there. My phone number's wrong.
That might not be a bad thing. I don't see anybody else saying that. Oh, how come you get special? How come you get special treatment? I see our deputy clerk, the CEO, deputy clerk, noting that. Do you want to give them the correct one while you're on camera?
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah. Maybe you just want to leave the microphone off while you divulge that information. I think we can get that corrected.
Repeat that again?
I know I've circulated notices to council to individuals that have submitted their nomination papers for elections, and it's also on the website and the media release has gone through, but I would really recommend any individuals that have already submitted their nomination papers or that are considering submitting their nomination papers or running for council or for school trustee for that matter, and even any individuals out in video land that They may want to attend the August 7th candidates information session that will be held at the Flushton Kinplex. Again, August 7th, 7 p.m. It's a very worthwhile, I think, a session, informative session. And after 4 years, this is my 7th election, and I forget things after 4 years, so I think it would be, beneficial for prospective council members to attend as well. There is a registration process. You can even let me know if you wish to attend, and I can inform the appropriate parties as well.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Any other new business the council has? Addendums? Then notice motion, direct motion? I'm not aware of any. Closed session, we don't have any. Question period. We're now at that point where anyone in the audience can ask a question on things that were on the agenda this evening. Apparently we've done a very good job. There is a limited number of people left in the audience. They've got their answers and gone home. Okay. Municipal Act notices, Mark. I don't believe we have any. And Councillor Mollison, do you want to make the last motion? David moves that we adjourn. I'll accept that. Number 20. And we'll stand adjourned until the next council meeting.